expansion for Dark Gothic, the constructible deck building game. Yeah, the constructible deck building game is what it was. It's day 4, and there's some cool features in it.
Yes, absolutely. So, are you familiar with Dark Gothic, the main game?
Yeah, I played it.
Okay, Dark Gothic's one of my absolute favorites. And we're big fans of deck building games. Now I'm doing it. It's catching. It's contagious. So we're fans of deck building games, and Dark Gothic really grew out of the fact that we were playing tons of deck building games, and that's what we're doing nonstop for our gaming. And part of it is because we don't have a lot of time to play games. The deck builders are easy to pull out and play in half an hour and put away, and so they can fill in those gaps. We have lunch break or something like that. It's a lot easier to do than like, let's pull out armies and play some miniature game or something like that. Yeah. And so we were playing a lot of that, and like all gamers, I'm sure, we're sitting there going like, I wonder why they did that. You know, has anybody ever done this? And after enough of those conversations, we were like, you know what? We should do one. That would be really cool, but only if we have something to say, like something to add to the arena, because there's a lot of deck builders. And so we brought some new things to the table, new ideas, new mechanics. We even have a dice. We're all about American-style dice chucking and whatever. And so, to my knowledge, it's the only deck builder that even has a die. And we were able to make our first custom dice. Do you know of one?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay. If you had known, I would want to know, but I don't know. And there could be one. I'm not making any claims.
You know, I think there might be 1 or 2, but I don't think you roll the dice. They're just like counters.
Oh, really? Could be. I don't know. But we were really excited to bring like what we do. You know, like using the theme and fast and furious fun gameplay and not getting bogged down in like little fiddly bits. Just like very simple mechanics that people can grasp pretty quickly, but yet provide enough theme that you feel like you've had an adventure, and to have different ways to play, co-op and competitive, and all of these things that we love and do with our games brought to a deck builder. And we had a really good time with it, and even now it's one of my very favorites to play, and it's the one that I play most because that's what I have time for, and it's the one that I take with me on every trip I ever go on. It goes in my suitcase because it's small and compact. You can play in half an hour. You can play with your relatives that don't play games. It's super easy to pick up no matter who you are.
It is.
So with the expansion, we just felt like deck builders have certain expectations of a line of products being released. You know, nobody does a deck builder where it's like, here it is, we're done, see you later. You know, it's like there's expectations there.
Right.
And so we knew when we released it, okay, within a year there needs to be the expansion for it now, and we wanted to follow suit with that. And every time we do an expansion for any of our games, we always ask ourselves, is this going to make the game better? And that's really important. And it seems obvious, but I'm not sure everybody does that. Speaking as a gamer, just as a fan, I've had some games that I totally love where an expansion comes out and it doesn't feel like it actually made it better. It feels like maybe it made it harder, or it added new rules, but sometimes it just makes it more complex. And so, the doctor's oath, where they take an oath to never do more harm to a patient. So it's like, I'm only a healer, I make someone better, or I don't make it worse, Right. And we kind of take that approach to doing expansions. And the expansion that comes out, the game needs to be better for it. And we always stop and we analyze and say, like, is this going to be a better game? What are we doing here? And obviously you want to expand a little bit with new mechanics and things like that, but we're always careful to provide more of what people like about the first one, and then also make sure that any mechanics make it more fun. And so we've done that with this. There's some new mechanics in the game, like roaming minions, where you're familiar, so you know. There's minions now that come out, and they're mostly like rats and zombies and ghosts and things like that, but they come out and then shamble their way toward the darkness. So as they come out, you offset them a little bit so that they stick out to you so you remember, and at the end of each person's turn, they move one slot toward the villain, and when they get to the end of the row, then they go into the darkness pile. And so it adds this new line of tension. So as you're playing, suddenly there's these like little bombs that are like ticking down, and they move very fast, especially in like a multiplayer game. So if 4 of us are playing, when one of these guys comes out, very likely by the time it gets to be your turn again, it's already gone to the shadows. So it's like, who's gonna do this? Would somebody get those rats? And so it ends up, causing this new, thing where everybody's trying to work together. Yeah. Besides Colonial Horror, we also actually at the show here released 2 new card supplements, and those are our small 15-card expansions that we usually only sell at conventions and on our website. So we released Curse of the Werewolf, which is all centered around the theme of like lycanthropy and werewolves and that kind of thing. So there's werewolves who fight, there's the full moon card, you can be bitten by a werewolf and gain a new curse of the werewolf and become a werewolf yourself. It's pretty cool. And then the other one is the Smuggler's Den, and that's kind of focusing on the seedy underbelly of that area, of the Shadow Tavern, of the medieval world. And so smugglers, and it also plays on the roaming minions that we talked about. This one actually has roaming allies, which is pretty cool. So for example, Coachman. So it comes out and it's an ally you can get into your deck to help you, but he's in motion. So the Coachman comes out and he's rolling through town, and you have until he gets to the end to buy him and add him to your deck. And if you don't, he goes off to the shadows as well. So it's pretty cool.
Sounds a lot more intense.
It can raise the intensity a little bit, but in a very fun way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you got coming up?
For the foreseeable future, it's going to be a lot of Shadows of Brimstone development, as anyone could guess, I'm sure. Some of the stuff we're really excited to be getting into retail soon, because it's important for anybody in the Kickstarter to remember the Kickstarter represents like this little piece of the pie wedge of the entire audience for the game. Right. Most people did not do the Kickstarter and are just like, oh, Shadows of Brimstone, this is great, I can't wait to get more. And it's been kind of silent because they don't get Kickstarter updates and they don't know, what's going on behind the scenes. But we're able to get some of that stuff out to retail along the way. And so in September, we're going to be releasing the Caverns of Cinder Otherworld expansion and the Doorways into Darkness box set, which has plastic doorways, both mine doors and Otherworld alien doors. And they turned out great. They look amazing. And they include in the box set not only the 8 plastic doors, but also a 15-card set. It's kind of a mini expansion, kind of analogous to the card supplements we do, but themed around exploration, doorways, passages, that kind of thing. And it's cool because it includes everything from new encounters to darkness cards to new artifacts. And so it's a little bit of everything, and there were some really cool and fun cards. So we wanted to do that to we didn't want it to feel like, well, this is a terrain set, this is like just some doors. We wanted it to be like, well, these doors are really cool, you're going to enjoy them, but there's also new content, and so put it together as a package that's very exciting. And so that's also coming out in September. Colonial Horror should be in stores in September, and the new Dark Gothic supplements will obviously only be in our web store. I'm not sure exactly when those are going to be in our web store. A lot of this stuff we don't even have. We just got some air freighted, printed early and air freighted here so that we could actually have it for the show. So sometimes these things are deceiving if you don't really know what's going on. But because people say, oh, well, you have it, look, there's Colonial Horror, so I'll go to my store next week and get it. And it's like, no, this was flown at like extreme expense to get it here for the show, and it's actually going to be put on a boat and have a long trip across the ocean, and it'll be here, but this fall. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
I've talked so much, I'm going to need a second Big Red, I think. But
you did talk a lot. It was a good interview, though.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
You guys learned a lot, and thanks for your time.
No problem.
And I'll be seeing you around.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much.
See you guys.